Welcome to the Curly Hair Q&A show. I am your host, Ken Nickels, and I'm here tonight with Melanie Nickels. She is the founder of the Raw Hair Organic Salon in beautiful Naples, Florida. It's one of the top curly hair and color salons in the entire country, and Melanie is one of the top curl and color experts anywhere in the world. She is also the founder of the Raw Curls brand of natural and organic curly hair products. And tonight we are sponsored by Raw Curls and the Raw Curls brand of natural and organic curly hair products, where you will never catch us switching to cheaper, inferior ingredients like some other brands. Why? Because they don't make cheaper organic ingredients. And I couldn't find them. So Raw Curls brand of organic curly hair products can be found at rawhairorganics.com. You can check them out.
Sorry.
That's okay. And
Hello.
We are also sponsored tonight by the Raw Curls Academy, where you will find specialized curl training for licensed professional curly hair stylists to be trained as curly hair specialists. It's the most comprehensive curl training available anywhere, taught by internationally known curl and color expert Melanie Nickels, my co-host this evening. The echo is gone, Rhett.
It's going to come back. Don't worry.
Oh, damn it.
Oh, I felt like we were in the Grand Canyon for a while.
Oh, we were for a while.
No,
it won't.
Yeah. Anyway, taught by internationally known curl and color expert Melanie Nickels. It's the most comprehensive curly hair training that you'll find anywhere. Check out Raw Curls Academy classes at rawcurls.com/academy for details on upcoming classes. I have, and I'll just make this one quick mention, I have 2 spots left right now for the 2-day training coming up in Naples, Florida, October 27th and 28th. Grab your spot now. This will probably be the last class in until 2020. So if you want to get in before New Year's, now would be the time to do it. I got 2 spots left. Check out the website. We are also sponsored tonight by RawganX and RawganX Health. Tired of feeling tired? Lacking energy? Are you fat and overweight? Tired of being bloated and gassy and constipated and all those associated other disgusting maladies? Well, then try RawganX. It is your answer with 11 of the world's top organic superfoods. Just 1 glass a day will get you and your life back on track. It's what I used when I had cancer for 4 years and dying every day. And now look at me. Ta-da! I do this. If you want to be like me, get your jar of RawganX Super Green Juice today. And for just a couple of more days, it's on special, $49.98 a jar. That's right about $20 off. So go to RawganX, RawganX.com, and grab that stuff for you and maybe an extra jar for someone you love. So thank you very much to our sponsors. Tonight, you guys, this is show number 131. It's supposed to be Curl Crap Giveaway show number 14, but it will not be. It's actually going to be a 2-segment show tonight. And you're probably wondering, 2 segments? Why do we need 2 segments? Well, it's because we have a special guest on tonight, a very special guest. I have Miss DeShawn Bullard, the CEO of NouriTress. She is a hair loss specialist and trichologist from Atlanta, Georgia. Welcome, Miss Bullard. How are you tonight?
Hello, DeShawn.
You can't hear her yet.
I can't hear her yet. I don't know if you guys can. Maybe
Can't
you can.
hear her. We
There we
can't
go.
see her. Hello, there's
It's gonna
There
be.
she
Can
is.
you hear
There
me?
she is.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes.
can.
I just
Okay.
apologize. I want to apologize to
Hi.
everyone, first of all, for the tap dance that's happening. We have so many technical issues tonight, so
Yeah.
bear with me, please.
But we're going to get them all straightened out because in the next 2 months we have like 5 guests coming on, so we'll get it sorted out. We'll get it sorted out. So welcome. Thanks for joining us. And I haven't really given anybody any hints about what we're going to talk about today, other than hair loss in general. So I compiled a bunch of questions from all our 7 Facebook groups and Instagram and everywhere else. And I'm going to give you listener and viewer questions tonight, and then you and Melanie can talk about them. But to start with, DeShawn, tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey and your company, and tell us who you are.
Well, first of all, thank you guys for having me. Many people don't really know I am one of those corporate girls who turned my life around from corporate, and I always joke and say that I backdoored the beauty industry. So I have a degree in computer science. I worked as a software designer for about 7 years in corporate America. But I've always had a passion for the beauty industry. So as a young girl, I always wanted to make women feel pretty. However, my mom didn't feel the same way, because the way they thought about the beauty industry, they thought like, when we think about like Greece, beauty school dropout, so it wasn't really a career that was viable. Right. Understand that, right, Melanie? And so I didn't get the opportunity. So I had to go to college. I graduated from college. And once I graduated from college and moved to Atlanta, I'm originally from Chicago, I still had this burning, yearning desire to make women feel pretty. So I decided to enroll in beauty school. I would work in the morning from 7:15 to 4, get off of work, sneak out 30 minutes early so that I can get to class on time. And I went to beauty school, and my whole world changed. From there, I was able to work for a product company and and because of the relaxing and the chemicals all mixed together. And I decided to go in further in my training, talking with doctors and dermatologists, getting further training for me in hair loss. And here I am today, years later as a hair loss specialist and trichologist. And this is primarily what I do. Focus on women who have hair thinning, shedding, breakage, or preventing it, providing education to prevent hair thinning and hair loss.
So tell us, Melanie, tell us how you and DeShawn met.
Okay, well, I went to the Orlando Beauty Show, the premier show in Orlando, and I'm always looking for new classes to take, different topics, different subjects, something interesting. And I know that we've had a lot of clients suffering with hair loss, including myself. And so I really was interested in finding a good class on that topic. And hers really just jumped out at me. I didn't really want to learn about just wigs or weaves. I actually went to a couple of those, and that's not what I was looking for. And I was so happy to stumble across her class because she was so informative, and it's exactly what I wanted.
Yeah. So then what happened?
So I went and talked to her after the class, and we discussed getting some further education, and she was hosting a training in Atlanta, and I said, that I was interested in signing up for that. And so we just went from there. And just a few weeks ago, I completed that training, and it was just mind-blowing and super exciting. So I said, you have got to come on our show.
Yeah.
I loved it.
And this is cool. Yeah. And I hate your machine, DeShawn. Just hate that stupid thing.
We're obsessed.
I hate it.
I know.
Damn thing. Anyway, that's exactly what your guest wants to hear from your host, right? Thanks for coming on. I hate your product. Anyway, it's really neat. It's really neat. You can really go down the rabbit hole with that thing if you got nothing else to do.
I tell hairstylists all the time, once you learn the technology, don't become so involved, because any strand of hair that comes out of your hair, you're going to run back and try to look and scope it.
Right,
Exactly.
Well, we'll talk about that later.
A scope addict.
We're
Easy.
addicts already.
And I'm a science guy, so it's even worse. Anyway, I'm thinking of all different kinds of uses for that. But anyway, let's get into some questions, and we'll talk about more. So I got a lot, and I know you're on a bit of a time schedule, so we'll let's get started. And as most of you know who have listened to this podcast before or watched this show, we don't preview our questions with our guests, and we do that for a reason, because we We don't want it to be scripted. So DeShawn has not been previewed on any of this. So if I give you a question, DeShawn, that you that maybe doesn't fit your expertise or something like that, just tell me and I'll move on to the next one. So, okay, all right. All right, DeShawn, if someone with coarse, dense hair has a patch of hair that produces baby hairs in the back, but won't grow length or density to match the rest, will nioxin or other medications help?
Oh, that is such a great question, because we always say that, and Melanie, you learned this, that growing your hair back is not magic, it's science. And so therefore, if you are having some baby hairs there and it won't grow longer, one of the things that we recommend, we don't go back to a product, because I don't like to speak about products that I don't personally know the ins and outs of. But I would like to point you back to your doctor or general physician, because sometimes it simply means that you may need some iron. When we see those little baby hairs and the hair won't really grow out all the way it should, sometimes you just may need some iron. You may have vitamin deficiency. And so you need to go to your doctor to get some checkups and to make sure that you're not low on iron or vitamin deficiency. Because if we see the baby hairs there, the good thing is that hair is there. So we know that it can grow. So now what do we need to do? Add enhancements like hair vitamins, which nioxin does have a hair vitamin, but we want to make sure that we have the right dosage of hair vitamins and the right doses of nutrition to get that hair growing out.
So speaking of that, I have DeShawn's NouriTress hair vitamins. Why don't you tell us a little bit about these?
Well, NouriTress hair vitamins, you know, one great thing about us that we're really proud of at NouriTress is that our very first vitamin that we came out with in 1998 was sort of like a nioxin-like type vitamin, which was a general hair, skin, and nails that you'll find at any, you know, retail outlet. But during the course of our business, we have had to talk with doctors, and we've been invited to the American Academy of Dermatology and gain more insight on what people really need to be able to really grow full hair. And so we've added things. We've changed our formulation about 3 times. You guys know that because you have a product and you know about formulations.
Oh, yeah.
So every time we get some new ideas, we've added more and more, such as, so our vitamins not only have biotin, we have folic acid, we have cayenne pepper that helps speed up the metabolism for the hair to grow faster because we want results. We have horsetail extract, which is an anti-inflammatory, because hair loss could be caused due to all this other stuff. So we have a very good multi-hair vitamin.
Okay. Anything else you want to add to that, Melanie?
No, because, well, she pretty much touched on it, but, you know, people feel that they can just buy the hair vitamins or folic acid from like Costco or the drugstore. But I was trying to explain to them that you have the appropriate dosages and ingredients to specifically for growing new hair and keeping hair from falling out.
Yeah, I see that with the supplement company that we have, is people will comment about what they're taking, and they're self-dosing at random, you know, with the whole more is better attitude, which in a lot of cases it doesn't work at all. It's the exact opposite.
Exactly. Right. Unfortunately, I can't hear you guys anymore.
Hold on, you guys. Just a minute.
There you go.
All right, you should be able to hear him. Yeah, there we
go
go.
ahead.
Sorry.
Okay.
Wait, Melanie, go ahead and ask again.
So I was asking you to explain, like you did in class, how you talked about biotin should not be taken by itself. It should be something that's combined with other ingredients so that the body absorbs it. Is that correct?
Correctly, because biotin is simply a B vitamin. And there are a lot of vitamins out there that we hear, like choline, which counteracts the effects of stress. That's a B vitamin. So there are a lot of things that we maybe don't understand that's out there in the vitamin world that are B vitamins, but B vitamins need to be absorbed by other vitamins. So generally B vitamins are not sold to just be taken by itself. It is always sold as an addition. Like if you take a multivitamin, then you'll take some extra B6 or B12. It's a B vitamin that needs to be absorbed by other vitamins so that your body can process it correctly.
And use it, actually use the vitamin.
Exactly.
Yeah, not just pee it out. Yeah, that's big mistake. I agree. Big mistake people make is self-dosing, and they don't know why. They just they go by the more is better. You know, that if they're looking at a bottle at Costco that's 250 milligrams and another bottle that's the same thing that's 500 milligrams, they're buying the 500 milligram one because it's the more is better, and it's just not the case.
But I have to say, I've been guilty of that in the past. Before,
so have I.
Before being properly educated, I was telling people, take biotin, take folic acid. You know, I didn't know that it had to be combined. So.
Yeah.
Good info.
And most people don't know that. Don't feel bad. Most people don't know. That's why you have the podcast, right?
There you go.
That's
exactly.
Right.
That's why we have it. The next question I've got is, let's see. DeShawn, can a hair product that, let's assume, is curly girl friendly really cause hair loss if there is no scalp irritation or telltale visible signs?
So can a curly girl product
friendly type hair product cause hair loss even if there's no scalp irritation? I wonder if what they're asking here is, can it build up? Is that what you think they're asking, Melanie?
Well, they're saying like they don't. I'll answer, and then DeShawn can build on what I have to say. Yeah, because you're not necessarily feeling something, but when you look under the, I could be having the hair loss without feeling irritation, or that there's buildup that needs to be exfoliated. But when you go under the, if like I'm having thinning in my temples, then you go under the scope and you can see that there is product buildup or just dead skin cells that need to be exfoliated. So that's how I'm taking it. Correct?
Yeah, and I think what it is that what we have to understand in the world of just beauty products overall, and Melanie, you and I had this conversation when you were in Atlanta, we have to properly categorize products. You may be prone to hair thinning or hair loss and didn't know it, and you're using these, curly girl products, and you're thinking the products are taking your hair out, but the products are just not helping your situation because you're not using the right product to assist you with what is going on. So if it's not providing enough moisture, then you're going to feel like it's breaking more. If it's not providing enough protein, you're going to feel like it's shedding more. And then you actually blame it on the product when really you just need to find out what is going on with your hair and find the right product to match. You see what I'm saying? So sometimes life happens and we feel like we use this product at a certain time and it's like, oh, it took my hair out. Well, you're going through menopause, baby. You just don't know.
Exactly.
And you're using the wrong product. And so that's the reason why we train people, like when Melanie came to the class, to understand what's going on to make the best recommendation. My advice would be, if you're using a product and it seems like your hair is getting worse, find a product that will suit your need. If that product still doesn't work, call your doctor, call your GYN, call your general practitioner, call your dermatologist to find out, because it could be early stages of any illness that may be going on in your body, lupus, anything that you don't even know.
Boy, I've got all these questions are going to flow together, so this is great. Do you have anything to add to that, Melanie, or should I go on?
I do, but...
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, because it's a little eye-opening, and I know this is going to be shocking to a lot of people, but DeShawn and I had this conversation because I was, struggling a little bit, because we're always preaching and talking about and using the sulfate-free products, thinking that we're doing a good thing, and we are, because it's gentle on the hair. However, DeShawn, had a little bit of insight in that, as she's been seeing more hair loss in people that are using these types of products. Is that correct?
Correct. I don't know if he wants to move on or can we stay.
No, go ahead. No, because this is going to go to what I've got.
But that is so true, because I think that when the whole curly hair movement started, it was really all about people who shampoo their hair every day, right? So if you shampoo your hair every day, of course, when you don't want to use a sulfate every day, because the purpose of a sulfate is to cleanse. So if you use it every day and it has mild detergents in them, which are sulfates, then eventually it will strip your hair, meaning it can make your hair too dry. If you're wearing color, it can strip the color out. So what happened with the curly hair movement and with the natural stuff and organic, it was like no sulfates at all. So what happens with no sulfates at all, then you have so much skin buildup, you have so much product buildup because you're not cleansing your scalp at all, 0%. And so now we have all of these people complaining about my hair is coming out around the hairline, my hair is coming out on the nape of my neck, my hair is coming out in the center, my hair is coming out all over, where you're not cleansing your scalp. I think most of us, when we wash our face every day, we use some type of gentle or cleanse our body. I know they have like Dove body wash that has no sulfates in them, but I guarantee you better put some sulfates somewhere soon if you know what I mean.
Exactly.
To cleanse your body.
And I've been explaining that now to people, and just like you said, we do a lot to exfoliate the skin on our faces, but we haven't been doing that on our scalps, which we could clearly see on my own scalp looking under the scope. And I've been having a little bit of dry, itchy,
So are you guys saying that someone who actually follows the curly girl method and uses a sulfate-free cleanser can still get buildup, even if it's a good quality product?
Yes, you still can. And one of the things that we do, we say, this is what we say. We want you to use your curly girl sulfate-free product, but don't eliminate sulfates from your diet completely. You may need to bring a sulfate in once a month, or twice a month. That's all we're saying.
Yeah, because DeShawn also has a sulfate-free shampoo, and I do as well. Of course, the Raw Curls is sulfate-free, very gentle, very moisturizing, which is wonderful. But as we're finding out, and we've talked about before, we've just always been saying you need to clarify the hair. So that's what's happening, because a lot of those clarifiers, as we've discussed in the past, have some sulfates in them or a higher pH level to strip that buildup on the hair and the scalp.
Yeah. So I'm sure DeShawn, and I know the people listening to this podcast and watching this show are going to give so much pushback.
Oh gosh,
because there's tons of people that are co-wash people only, and every
Oh, my
month or
God.
so they want to take apple cider vinegar and they say
Oh,
that's
my
as good
God.
as cleansing their scalp, and they're not getting buildup. And tell me your thoughts. I'll listen.
My thoughts are this, because I am 52 going on 53. I know I look like I'm 31 going on 30. No.
You're like 32.
But true. No, I know. If I could give you a tip through here, I would do it. But I've been around long enough to know that when people used to come to the salon before the whole DIY movement, like I do my hair at home, people would come to the salon. We did not experience hair loss at all. And we did not have sulfate free.
Wow.
People came to the salon, they got their hair done once a week, or so, and we had no hair loss. When we started moving into listening to people who were unlicensed, bloggers who started telling us things based off their own experience, ha ha ha, get mad if you want to, then we started seeing more of the hair loss. But this is the truth. And it's not that, everything changes. People who are vegan, they would tell you if you're a pregnant woman, you need to add some protein to your diet. Eat some iron. Eat a hamburger once a month. It's not going to kill you. Your baby needs some iron. So it's. I think it's just us being able to understand that we're not saying that to take away your sulfate free. That's not what we're saying. Shampoo your hair with apple cider vinegar. All I'm saying is if you do that, don't call me because you know everything. Don't call me when your hair falls out and it's dried out, when I went to school for 18 months after completing college for 5 years. I am studying this thing.
I hear you. And it's, for us the other night, like I was saying, I hate your machine because we brought it out and started playing with it. And it was really eye-opening, and I was not expecting that to actually
I got
open it up
pictures.
and see build up. We're like, wait a minute, we've got products that do not build up. Where's it coming from? What is this? I mean, it wasn't all over, but
Right.
the microscope, showed there were spots, and it's
Wow,
like,
look at that.
all right, it's because neither one of us uses a sulfate shampoo ever.
That wasn't why you were mad. He's
All right,
just,
that's the real reason I was mad is because I don't have follicles where I want it to grow back. Damn it.
he's like,
Fine.
Well, our skin builds up on its own every day. Otherwise, we wouldn't have to wash our bodies, right?
You're right.
So-
Exactly. I've said
Or
this.
get a facial. You wouldn't
right.
need a facial to pull the dead skin off.
that's true.
Yeah, I've said this before with with people who are co-wash only and then use apple cider vinegar as a rinse occasionally. And again, hate me if you want, but the fact of the matter is, I've never seen one of those women's curls look better than someone who cleanses. Never. They never look as good. They never look as shiny. They just don't look as good.
It's what we're talking about. It's in addition to, not a replacement of
Right.
cleansing your hair.
Right. Okay. Let's press another hot button and
Oh,
throw
gosh.
DeShawn
We're
under
on
the
a roll.
bus.
All the segment, facts versus fiction.
I hear you. We're all about it. Yeah, you can hate us all, which is great. So here's the next question then, and it'll be kind of a two-part question. So what are your thoughts on the lock method, and what are your thoughts on the LCO method?
So the lock is okay. Help me out.
Yeah, it's what, leave-in oil and conditioner. So you're supposed to put the leave-in in, and then the oil's supposed to seal, and then
conditioner.
Right.
Okay, and then the other one was
The oil goes last.
Okay.
Which I started saying that a couple of years ago, and I got blasted like crazy. I'm like, why would you put oil on in the middle if you're trying to seal? Not that I'm all about oils, but I'm just saying, if your theory is that, it's backwards. It should be, it should be LCO.
So the goal is this. So leave-in is always last, and then you go in with the oil. That's just standard practice. If you do the oil before you do all of that, this is the way that I feel. Whatever works as it relates to, as long as once we get through the shampoo and the conditioner, the cleansing of the scalp, if you want to put the oil on before the leave-in, to me, I don't see how the leave-in can penetrate through the oil.
I don't see it either. And so
I can't see how that can happen. But if you want to do that because you feel like with your hair, again, it's all this DIY. It's like understanding how to paint your house and saying, what should you put the paint on first and then the primer
and then the primer on top. Yeah, it's
true.
So I guess the real question for this is, what are you seeing in people that use those methods on their scalps? Are you seeing buildups? Are you seeing clogged follicles? Are you seeing?
I'm seeing a lot of clogged follicles because oils are not designed for the scalp. That's what I was teaching Melanie in the class. Oils are designed to give shine. It's not really designed for the scalp. So you will start seeing a lot of clogged follicles. I always say this, and for those who are watching, those who are listening, if you put baby oil on your leg in the summertime and sit in a leather chair, what will happen when you get up? You'll see a big oil print. However, if you use a moisturizing lotion on your leg, it will absorb into the skin. It's not magic, it's science. I didn't create it. It's just kind of how it is. Oil sit on the skin and collect dirt. If you're a bodybuilder, you look a little muscular over there. If you put a little oil
I've been
on
known
you,
to visit the gym. I've been known to visit the gym once in a while.
Right. You get a little shine when you body build. You have to get in the shower to wash the oils off. It's not coming off. It'll slide on your sheets. And those are facts. Facts versus fiction.
Oh, yeah. So let's get into more of the hair loss. So what is the difference, or is there a difference between shedding and hair loss?
Oh, that is so great. So it is a huge difference between shedding and hair loss, because hair loss is what, Melanie, is not a hair issue. It's a scalp issue, right? Yes. Which means that if you have hair loss, that means something is wrong with your scalp. But if you're shedding or if you're thinning, that just simply means that you may have a malnutrition strand that may show up and look like hair loss, but it's really not. Because when you look under the scope, you'll see, oh, there's little hairs there. We just need to add nutrition to them. So shedding, and then sometimes shedding can simply mean that through the hair growth cycle, we have the anagen, the catagen, and telogen. And in part of that cycle, your hair would shed to prepare for the new hair to come in. But if you have excessive shedding, that simply means that you may need, your cuticles may be lying wide open. You may just need to seal them with a protein conditioner and to stop the shedding. To make it easier to the least common denominator, it's kind of like if your nails are breaking, you put a nail hardener on to harden the nail. Same thing. We just want to harden the cuticle, seal it to keep it from coming out. But two different things, because if it's hair loss, sometimes the scalp is affected and you really won't, I mean, you can have a problem with the scalp.
Okay. Is there any way to combat hair loss due to thyroid issues?
You know what? Okay, so yes, it is. And you know what the answer is? Get your thyroids in order. Get your thyroid in place. That's how you combat it.
Yep.
You had a thyroid problem.
I had a thyroid problem.
Yeah, I did too. And so you take Synthroid, Ken?
I had a bunch of chemo, and so it fried my, thyroid. It didn't show up for a couple of years after that. But yeah, now they put me on, what's that stuff called? Everybody's on it who's got a thyroid thing. Can't think of the name.
Synthroid?
Yes. Yeah. Once a day.
Synthroid, yeah. Yeah, like me. And so
feel like $1 million.
I know. And so they gave me a radiation pill and it killed my thyroid. So now I've been taking Synthroid since I was in my 30s and now I'm 52. So
yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah, so you can combat it, but the issue is that you have to get to the root of the problem first, because you would mask and you would have a form of, it looks like my hair is not falling out anymore, but then what will happen is it will just reoccur until you get the thyroid issue fixed.
Okay, so get it checked.
Don't rush. I'm good. Don't worry about it. My husband came home early to kind of handle what I needed to handle.
Oh, okay, good.
Oh,
good. Then I'll stop rushing. All right.
No rushing.
Okay. All right. Miss DeShawn, what are your thoughts on hydrolyzed collagen?
I actually like hydrolyzed collagen. We actually use that in one of our products in our Stop Shedding Protein, because before the whole organic movement and natural hair movement, we used to use animal protein. We wanted to move away from that. But, hydrolyzed collagen is fine.
Okay.
It's needed.
Okay. Got anything you want to throw in, Melanie? Melanie said she had some questions.
Yeah, well, a big problem that DeShawn talked about in the class, and a lot of people know and refer to losing hair, is the DHT problem. But I don't know if we, really understand what that means and how it affects us. And what can you tell us about DHT and the effects of hair loss?
Okay, so DHT, just so everyone who's listening can understand, that it stands for dihydrotestosterone.
So in men and women, correct? Both?
In men and women, because remember, like I told Melanie, I am whoa man. And when my whoa moves out the way, then I'm still man. That's just a joke. When a woman doesn't have enough estrogen, you can see women that may have hair on their face. They may start getting a mustache. Their voice may start getting deeper. And that's because the estrogen is no longer there and the testosterone is showing up. So the goal for a man and a woman to prevent hair loss is to keep the testosterone that shows up in our bodies. And for men, we talked about, the higher levels, and you thought about it being lower. But the goal is that any extra testosterone that's there, we want to keep that from turning into a derivative of testosterone called dihydrotestosterone, which causes hair loss. And so if that shows up and you have high levels, we want to use what we call DHT blockers. And the number one DHT blocker is saw palmetto. Ken, I'm sure you know maybe a little bit about saw palmetto.
Yeah, I sure do.
Yeah, and so
it's good for a number of things.
It is. It's good for a number of things, but in low dosages, especially for women, and for men, it helps with hair loss. So that's what dihydrotestosterone is, and we want to make it clear because there's some products on the market that says block DHT at the scalp.
Yeah.
But since testosterone is a hormone, I don't know how you could do it at the scalp.
Right. It's too late.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering about that because we have used products before that are topical, and that is something that they would talk about is, blocking the DHT. So, and it's only left on for a short time. So I was not, really fully understanding how that works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
DeShawn,
Steroidal. So.
DeShawn, what, I'm going to skip around here. What are the most common causes of hair loss in women? What do you see?
Okay. Yeah, this is, I know Melanie, we just in classes.
Got my list.
There's a list?
There's a list.
I have like 20 pages of notes.
I thought there'd be like one.
I couldn't write fast enough. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. So the number one cause, Ken, we always say, is self-inflicted hair loss. Stuff that we do to our hair, women ourselves. We like to over bleach, over color, wear hair extensions, twist it up, lock it up, pull it in a ponytail, put extensions in it, and everything we do it over an abundance. We don't do it, minimally. If I'm wearing hair extensions, I'm going to wear it for the whole year. If I'm going to do color, I'm going to bleach it. I'm not going to wait every, 3 months. I see a little black coming out, so I'm adding bleach again. So that's the number one, self-inflicted hair loss. Then number two, hair loss due to our diet, not getting enough nutrition. A lot of us eat out a lot, so we don't get a chance to get the proper nutrition in our bodies. So our hair feels the effect of that, and then our strands don't get enough nutrition. Then we have things like hormonal, which is very common in women, whether it's premenopause or postmenopause or, something, going on hormonally with birth control pills and birth control methods, all those things that affect our hormones, or even postpartum, hair loss after having a baby. So that's all part of hormonal. And then we have things like illness, whether we are diagnosed with cancer, which a little bit about, but in women, of course, that you said, whether you may have lupus or, any type of illness that may, cause your hair to fall out. Those are the top causes of hair loss, mainly in women. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I've got a number of questions here that are related exactly to what you just talked about, so I'm going to throw them out randomly. Okay, here's the first one. How can I treat hair loss after pregnancy? I'm turning 40 this year. I'm almost 5 months pregnant, due in January. It's my first child. I'm nervous about losing my hair postpartum.
Okay, so that's a great question. What happens with women, and for those who are listening, just really pay attention to this. For those of us who have had children, because the same thing happened to me. We take prenatal pills for 9 months and our skin is glowing. We have beautiful long hair. And then as soon as that baby is born, especially if you're not going to breastfeed, like I didn't, you cut it out. I'm tired. I'm not taking another vitamin. I'm just done for 9 months. And what happens is while our body is trying to adjust hormonally, we start losing our hair. My recommendation is that anything that we do in life, if you're on any type of steroid treatment from the doctor, they always don't take you off cold turkey. They will taper you off. So I recommend that as soon as you have the baby, if you're breastfeeding, of course, still take your prenatal pills, that'll be fine. But moving to a hair vitamin, a lower dose vitamin, hair vitamin in particular, when you're not breastfeeding, again, because your babies don't need all of the herbs and stuff like that that's in the vitamins, but taper off into a lower dose hair vitamin and you should be fine. Make sure you add some protein to your hair to seal the cuticle to prevent it from shedding, and you should be fine.
Yeah.
Maybe that's another issue. We didn't really discuss that one, DeShawn, but there's a whole controversy about using protein. So many people, especially in the curly girl world, are afraid of using any protein in products. They say they're protein sensitive.
It's there's so many myths out there. Again, nothing is different. Nothing has changed. We've heard of protein products before in the market. A lot of them were made with animal protein in the past. So that's how it started. But now we're using hydrolyzed collagen protein. Again, you need protein in your diet. And so you need it for your hair.
Because it strengthens the hair.
Eggs are protein. So if you, I mean, you know, a lot of women will just use an egg and beat it and put it on their hair. If that's what you want to do, and you want to use up all your eggs in your refrigerator to do that, that's fine. It's still a protein, but we need it. We can't eliminate it from our hair diet. And if you're sensitive to it, you know, I can't say anything, you know, with that. You still have to find another method, a form of protein that may be more natural or whatever that may work. If it will work, you have to try something to seal the cuticle.
Okay, I've got another question, and it's worded a little funny, so bear with me as I read this. DeShawn, my question relates to the quote unquote advice from a particular YouTuber that people should skip conditioning in order to quote unquote heal their hair. So only use a sulfate-free shampoo. And the idea is to keep their hair cuticles opened, the YouTuber mentioned. She also believes that the low porosity hair is unhealthy and needs to be healed. Cuticles forcefully opened in order to accept more moisture. Any thoughts?
Okay, Ken, I can be a bit radical. And so I would say this first. Find out the background of the YouTuber. Is the YouTuber a licensed cosmetologist? Is the YouTuber a medical professional? I think that we in the world have to take our own responsibility with who we listen to.
We've said this forever, DeShawn. Melanie and I, this has kind of been a mantra we've had for a couple of decades.
Who do you listen to?
I mean, come on, Ken. I am not a doctor. I'm not a gynecologist. I'm not a dentist. So if I go on as a YouTube blogger because I have a lot of what to do with their teeth, like,
and you're
so
pretty,
what?
And you're pretty,
and you're right, and everything is gorgeous, and I have gorgeous hair, you know, then this is what you do. We have to start vetting people, you know. It's just like going to get butt shots with a quack. You know what I'm saying? You know, this is how we get ourselves in these positions,
right?
Because we listen to someone who's pretty and who has the gift of pastoring, you know, and
a great camera,
and a great camera, and great lighting, you know, and great aura. And then we listen to those people, and then we go try it, and we think like, oh my God. I will always say, you know, all I would say to that is vet the person. You know, if the glove don't fit, you must have quit. That's all I'll say.
There you go. Just like OJ. Do you have anything you want to throw in, or should I continue to go on?
No, not really. Yeah, because that was a lot of
all right. We'll do a couple of
bad information.
We'll do a couple of quick ones here, kind of rapid fire.
Yes, Melanie. Yes.
Baking water washes or baking soda washes, yes or no?
No.
Okay. I had to ask.
So let me go back. You know, I've seen it on social media myself, and baking soda is used for a lot of stuff, and it's good. So I guess one of the ways that I've seen it is on locks. So, or people who have dreadlocks and their hair is locked and tied up, and you can't really penetrate through that.
Oh, so the pH wouldn't make the same difference as it would with somebody who didn't have that.
Exactly. So I wanted to go back and preference with locks. I see a great need for that because you can really get all that dirt and bacteria out of the locks, the dreadlocks. But for others whose hair is not locked up, I wouldn't do it. I'll put it that way.
It's aggressive, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, very aggressive.
So here's where you get the pitch. What is the best hair regrowth process? Take us through it step by step.
Okay, so what is the best hair?
Yeah, what do you
process?
think? I mean, what do you got somebody here who's experienced hair loss? Where do you start? Kind of walk us. Okay. I mean, go ahead, be lengthy. You know, how do you walk us through it?
You start number one with strand development internally, right? So we want to make sure internally that we are developing a strong strand. How do we do that? We have to take hair vitamins internally with the right dosage so that while we are feeding our derma papilla, which is the place where the hair is born, we will make sure that the hair is growing out thick, the strand is thicker. And if we have any hormonal issues or the lack of nutrition, we're resolving that first. So the hair growth process first starts internal, and then next we move to what we call scalp care. Now we want to prepare the scalp to make sure the scalp is clean enough that as the hair is making its way to push its way out through the scalp, that there's no blockage, that the scalp is not full of extra skin and exfoliated. So then we next move to scalp care, which is the reason why we created the NouriTress Stimulated Scalp Shampoo that is an exfoliator, as well as it has antibacterial and fungus to cleanse the scalp. Then the next process is we want to do what Melanie and I talked about, is you want to make sure that you do hydration treatments. You know, hydration treatments are not just for dry scalp. It's also to make sure that you give your scalp a facial. Your skin is here. I'm on the opposite side. Your skin is here and your scalp is right behind there. So you want to provide some hydration through steam treatments. And then afterwards, once we rinse out our cream conditioners that add moisture, then we move into a leave-in conditioner. Leave-in conditioners provide not only detangle the hair, but it also provides strand, strength, and development. And then lastly, every 4 to 6 weeks, for me, I like 6 to 8 weeks, depending on your hair, you want to add some type of protein to add more keratin back into the hair. And that is the hair growth process.
Wow.
Okay.
Excellent.
So let's talk a little bit about. I'm gonna ask you a question in general terms, but feel free to tell us which in your product line fits these needs. What are the best ingredients, DeShawn, to look for in shampoo and conditioner to help hair that's thinning or shedding excessively? What
Okay.
ingredients would you look for, and then what products in your line would cover those issues?
Okay, so when we talk about shampoo, we have to look at the purpose of a shampoo. The purpose of a shampoo is not necessarily to provide thickness. Some shampoos may have volumizers in them to make it appear that it's thicker, but it's not actually making the hair thicker. It's giving the appearance of making it thicker. So when we talk about shampoos, again, when we talk about the hair growth process, we want to make sure we understand what we're doing from a non-gimmick standpoint, and that's what we're all about. So the only way we can build a strong strand permanently is internally by creating that strand internally by taking some type of vitamin supplement, point blank, whether it's mine or whatever. You need to build a strong strand internally. Afterwards, what we look for in a shampoo, we want to look for things like camphor, which are antibacterial, antifungal, peppermint oil, tea tree oil that will provide some moisture to the hair, but also strengthen the hair strands. And those are the main ingredients in our shampoo. It's camphor to kill bacteria and fungal on the scalp, as well as peppermint and tea tree oil to help exfoliate and strengthen the strand.
How did you figure that out? I mean, how did you figure that out? Did you study that? Did you
know.
I know. Did you do trial and error on yourself, or was it really a trial and error thing until you figured out what worked best?
Well, like I said, before I had my brand, I worked for a product company as an educator. And then I moved into, research and development. So anytime anyone had a problem with the product, I was always in the lab, trying to understand what was going on and working with the chemist. So after working with the chemist, and this is before all of the camphor, tea tree, peppermint oil, it was back in the old Paul Mitchell days when it was like, remember they had the tea tree shampoo?
Yeah.
I remember.
Everybody loved that shampoo.
Yes.
I did.
So yes, exactly. It was a staple because, again, beautiful hair equal tea tree, like that. So for me, it was learning from the chemist what works. I tell people, don't reinvent the wheel. I'm not trying to be the smart guy. I majored in computer science, not chemistry, but I had the opportunity to work alongside of a chemist to be able to understand what was going on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you have been seeing success with your products. It's proven results. So like you said,
Yes.
it's no gimmick. First of all, you're looking under the scope. There's no denying what you see and what the client sees. It's right there. And then you have the products to work with that are giving proven results.
Exactly. And proven results. I mean, we've had our brand since 1998. We've gone through so many reformulations. Of course, you guys know. Every time we get an inkling of something that's new, we're going to add some more to it.
Every time you make an inkling of profits, something new comes out and it's all gone.
Exactly. And then you got to change all your labels and throw all 10,000 labels we have in your warehouse away.
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, I mean, but for us, to be honest, the proven results that we have don't just come from our salon and hair clinic. It comes from other salons and stylists who post, and that's what gives us the best, makes us feel really good, is that we can look at those who tag us on social media, and they're showing the before and after. They're doing the hair loss boot camps, and we just get a chance to gloat and use them and show the world about what we're doing.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you one more question here, and then I want to go into a question where I want both of you to explain what someone can do. So I'll do one more question here, and if you have anything you want to throw in, and then I want to close with you guys, telling people, okay, so you've educated me now what do I do? Which ingredients have you seen that have been proven to cause hair loss in the past in hair products? In other words, what should people avoid? Anything in particular?
I can't, so let me preface with this, because so the movie Chris Rock came out and started talking about relaxers and how relaxers take your hair out. And I have been a strong believer that it is not the sodium, it is the improper use of the sodium. So I haven't really found I can't say that there's anything, unless it's something like, let's say, bleach, and then you use it with a 40 volume and you leave it on the hair too long. That's not bad. Melanie's a color specialist. It's the improper use of all of the items and the tools that are put before us. We could say that flat irons. Oh, I don't want to use the flat irons on my hair. They go up to 450 degrees Fahrenheit and it burned my hair out. Well, then you should have put yours on 350, boo.
It doesn't seem a rocket scientist.
I know. So I haven't found anything that I know of that is unsafe, should I say, as long as, I've used it, unless, like I said, mixing chemicals together. I don't know. I mean, I know they've had products on the market back in the day that they said you can eat it and put it on your hair. I wouldn't do it, but no chemicals that
we did that for a while. It didn't help.
Legally.
Right. I didn't sell more product.
Till the FDA came sniffing around.
Yeah, and said in their suits.
So I only deal with the FDA approved stuff, but even as it relates to the keratin and things like that, all of those still were not bad for your hair, but it was unhealthy for the stylists themselves. So that's why we moved. So I wouldn't, I would like to preface it like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We've just talked about cheaper ingredients that have a lot of fillers and waxes and stuff that clearly build up on the hair. As stylists, I just had a couple young girls that came in the salon that had that, where you can see the buildup with your eye. Didn't even have to look under the scope, and it's just scraping off of the hair strand. So things like that eventually could cause hair loss because it's suffocating the hair follicle, right?
Right, but it's improper use.
That's true.
If you're going to use some type of wax or something like that, because I use a wax on my hair. Some of the guys like to wear the wax to pump their hair up. You just have to shampoo it out. We get into a problem where we use these waxy type products and we improperly use them. We go back on, we put them on, and we're not shampooing properly, and then we say, oh, that product causes hair loss. No, you improperly used it. That wasn't what it was for. Read the directions. All of those bottles sitting in front of you have directions. Your bottles have directions. But nowadays, we like to go buy a desk from Walmart, open it up, and just figure out how to put it together when they have all the A, B, C, D, E, F, G screws and tell you where they go.
I can't even tell you how many people I've had to have that conversation with. I'm like, look, I spent 12 years developing this, and you think in your kitchen you're going to take a couple random ingredients and you're going to get the same result. Okay, this is confession time for me. Okay. This is the only time I'm ever going to say it, so listen to it now.
Ooh,
so several years ago, before I had these big groups, I used to troll around in all the natural and curly hair groups on Facebook. And whenever those discussions would come up where people would say, I made this great hair mask out of eggs and an avocado and a tablespoon of honey, and then it would turn into that, I'd make shit up and put it on.
Oh my God.
I'd say a tablespoon of motor oil and just anything.
Oh.
And these people would go wild. They'd be like, really? That's great. And I just like,
you're bad.
I'm bad. All right. Hey, at least I confessed.
They're bad for listening.
I know.
Be careful who you listen to. He's not a cosmetologist.
He's the husband of a cosmetologist.
Don't listen to Ken. Bad.
I would just sit there and laugh at my own jokes and just sit there and
of course
humor myself. But I just get so frustrated with that for the obvious reasons. Okay,
you find yourself amusing. DeShawn, talk about your the trichoscope and the oxygen follicle stimulator.
Okay, so the trichoscope is what we call, for lack of a better word, I call it a scalp X-ray. So that people can understand like what's going on, is that we get a chance to look at the scalp at a through like a magnifying glass, like a tool that's like a magnifier. That
super magnified.
Yeah. Well, let me take a step back. I want to just so, because we're talking to people that don't really understand what we're doing. So let's have both you guys talk about this. So let's just say I'm a woman and I'm experiencing some hair loss, and I come to one of your salons. What happens? How does this start? Tell everybody about what this process is and how it goes. Explain.
Red could show the picture of Red. Do you have
a picture?
We just took a picture of my scalp. Just a regular photograph of my thinning hair. Yeah. I gave it to him, but
he might not.
I do not have it right this
He
second.
does not have it. Okay. But anyway, so tell us if somebody, a lot of people watching, because I got lots of questions and lots of viewers tonight that, are experiencing hair loss. How do they start with someone like you or someone like Melanie? How does this go? How does it go?
I think the first thing to do is to, find a hair loss specialist or trichologist, which is, a technical word, either word, hair loss specialist. And then the first thing that Melanie or I will do, and I'm sure she can chime in, is the first thing we do is we would sit down and have a consultation with you. We talked about all the different causes of hair loss today. We need to find out about your lifestyle. Maybe you are, I ran into a lady who worked for, she was a 911 operator, and she was very stressed out. Mm-hmm. And stress can also cause your hair to come out. She said every day she goes home and she wonders if she made the right decision. So we'll sit down and have a consultation with you. Maybe you work in the ER and you have to wear scrubs all the time with the little beanie around there and it's rubbing out your hairline, every single day. We'll sit down, have a consultation with you, go through a series of questions, and then from there we'll decide from that point if you need to be scoped or not, because it's not cheap, right?
Right.
How much is it, you guys? What's it cost to come into a salon like your guys and get scoped?
How much did you charge, Melanie?
I'm charging $150.
So $150. That's just to get it looked at and examined. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So you ask a lot of questions first.
Charge a little bit more than that. Other places may charge a couple.
Okay. So it's a bargain. So say you get to that level and you decide, okay, we're gonna scope it. We're gonna take a look. So then what? What are you looking for? What are you looking for?
Well, the first thing we do is during our consultation, we ask the client what part of their hair has the issue or concern. They will show us the part of their hair that has an issue or concern, but we will also ask them what part of your hair, Ken, is like the best hair ever that you just love, that you have no problem with. Mm-hmm. And you'll say like right here is really good, like right back here. And then we'll use the scope to first look at the great part of your hair. And what this does, it gives us an insight on what your hair has the potential to do.
Sure.
Like this is the best part of your hair. and we take a picture of that and we look at that and we use that as a guideline first. And then we'll move to the other area of concern and compare the two.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
And then once we see that, then we can make some decisions and some, put you on what we call a hair treatment plan.
Okay, so let's talk about me. I'll use me as an example. So for a guy my age, I've got a really good head of hair, except for this one spot you can't see because you can't see us. It's in the very front of my hairline on the left-hand side, and it's a bald spot, probably about the size of a quarter, maybe, roughly.
Well, you just have the receded.
Yeah,
temples.
It's receded is what it is. Receded temple. I hate it. So Melanie took the scope and she took a look at it and said, well, you got a problem. There's no follicles at all. So for a guy like me with no follicles in that area, do I have any options?
You do. You can get a hair piece.
I get a hair piece. My hair looks so good. No way.
Hey, I just watched somebody do that on YouTube.
What else can I do? That spray paint you see on YouTube.
No, just camouflage it. Like, you have enough hair. You know what I tell people? Don't make a mountain out of a molehill. That we used to say that all the time.
Yeah.
So if you can cover it up, if it's too late. So the whole goal for you to, how long has this been going on, Ken? Which is the real
what
question.
you think? Maybe 2 years or so, 3 years.
Yeah, it started probably since the chemo, and then your hair came in a little bit less and more gray.
Yeah, I think, I know what you're getting at, DeShawn, and I have to admit that over the last year that I've changed my hairstyle, the way I style my hair, I hide it pretty good. Like right now on camera, you can't see it.
Yeah, and then because of, if you said chemo, I always tell people, sometimes chemo can kill a follicle because the whole goal is to kind of kill everything.
It kills everything.
So we're not gonna. It does, and so in some cases, majority of cases, it will grow back. But then we have those small cases that it won't. But if you have enough hair to cover it and no one knows but you, just cover it up and keep it moving.
I'm probably the only one that I probably am.
Exactly.
Because I know it's there. You know what I mean? Because I know it's there. Nobody else.
And unfortunately, we talked about hair loss is not a hair issue, but a scalp issue. And so what you just said kind of proves our theory of what we were talking about tonight. Yeah. Once the scalp has been maybe damaged due to whatever, like through the chemo or whatever, that maybe killed the follicles in that particular area, then that'll be fine, But the whole goal is for those who may be experiencing hair thinning or shedding, like you said, to not do anything about it. And then it continues to shed, it continues to fall out. And then next thing you know, you put hair extensions on top of it. And now we're 18 months later, we're 2 years later, we're 4 years later, and you decided to put a Band-Aid on top of it. And then you come to me once you've taken it all out. And, unfortunately, sometimes we can't bring it back to life.
So you're telling me not to get a weave?
No, you don't need one. I promise.
Well, you have a lot of other. We didn't talk about this tonight, but DeShawn had brought it up in class, and I found it very, very interesting. Nowadays, she said there's a lot of people, and Ken is guilty of this, like taking all the proteins to build and bulk up the muscle. So he does a lot of that with diet and proteins, and he takes extra testosterone hormones because his body was out of balance from his cancer. So there's just a lot going on there.
But I look great.
Yeah.
I feel great. But I'm got a bald spot.
But no, there is a study that a lot of the guys who do all that muscle milk and build all that testosterone, that part of that causes hair loss. So,
I've heard it.
But then we didn't even talk about heredity. So even if you have a history,
I have none in my family. That's the thing. That's why I was really hoping, because there is no, knock on wood, there's no old men in either side of my family that had hair loss. None. So I was really
Yeah.
hoping. So I'm hoping it stops. Like this is it. Receded in the hairline, which I suppose I
I'm
can deal with
sure.
it, and then it just stops.
Well, you have the scope queen there now. Melanie
know.
has the scope.
I hate that thing. Anyway,
Don't paint it. Don't paint it gold. Don't paint it gold, Melanie. You have a gold
right,
scope.
right. So then what happens next? So if you bring somebody in, you decide, okay, we're going to look at their scalp, and you're looking for things. So then what would happen? What do you guys do? What would be the next course? How does this work?
Afterwards, we'll give it a 90-day. We'll give you like a 90-day treatment plan, right, Melanie?
Yeah, she had a bunch of different treatment plans. Do you want to go over those? So like,
Yeah. It just depends on, we don't want people to feel overwhelmed. I think one of the things that I like people to understand, it's no different than if you woke up tomorrow and your knee was out of whack, Ken. You'll probably try to take some joint muscle stuff to kind of get it in line first. And you may find out 2 weeks is still not better. Then you may try to get a higher dosage of something. But then after about a month or even 2, you're like, I need to go to the doctor because I've been trying to massage this thing for 2 months. Yeah. And so one of the things that we do is when a person comes into us, we'll put them on what we call a 90-day treatment plan so that we can monitor over the course of the 3 months how the plan is doing. So we put you on a treatment plan. We may bring you to the back and do maybe some scalp exfoliations, some steam hydration treatments, some oxygen scalp therapy, which you asked me about earlier, Melanie, which is what we call a toner for the scalp, because we look at our products as like skincare for the scalp. So when you go get a facial, you're going to cleanse, you're going to tone, you're going to moisturize, you're going to treat. Where we're doing the same thing with the scalp. And the oxygen scalp therapy with the follicle therapy is like a toner, just to kind of tighten the skin at the scalp, to anchor the hair at the root. And then we'll ask you to come back in 45 days after we style and blow dry and give you a nice style. We'll ask you to start the treatment plan, and we'll ask you to come back in about 45 days. And we'll take another picture and we'll compare that picture of your scalp from the first time that you came in to the one today. And we'll just follow you through.
Yeah. DeShawn, for as long as you've been doing this, gosh, over 20 years now, right? 21 years?
Yes.
How,
yes.
Give me a rough idea on a, what your success rate is. What do you see? 50% better? 60? What do you see?
About 75 to 80.
Wow.
We really do.
Wow.
Because you know why? Because I think it's a myth, like we tell people. I would love to say that it's the products and the products are wonderful, which they are. I'm not saying that they're not. But majority of it is just teaching people the scientific approach to the way hair grows and putting them on a real true regimen and being able to read it with the scope. And majority of the people that we see, hair loss starts out temporary and only becomes permanent when you don't do anything about it.
Yeah.
So that's what we see, and that's the reason why we're at the 80%, mark, because we're really pushing people to understand that as soon as your hair starts breaking, as soon as it starts thinning, as soon as it starts shedding, treat it and do something about it then. And if we catch you at a stage where you're just like, this has been going on for about 6 months or even a year or even 2 years, we have to think of hair loss like cancer in stages, whether I have stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, or stage 4. If I get you in even at stage 3 and we put you on an aggressive treatment and you're going to stick with it, then sometimes we can get their hair to grow back. But majority of people are in stage 1 and 2, and you for sure will get your hair to grow back.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, it is.
A good friend of ours that we spent the day with yesterday, another very well-known hairdresser, is experiencing some thinning. So I use a scope and I was looking, and he was like so excited to have me show him that there's actually still active hair follicles there that can grow hair.
Yeah, it was really pretty
neat. He was like, oh my gosh, I really was feeling like there was no hope. So it was really cool.
So DeShawn, tell us and tell everybody here where they can find a NouriTress trained trichologist. Would that be a good way to put it?
Specialist?
Hair loss specialist.
Yeah.
Where could someone find one that's a NouriTress trained, and where could they find your products?
Okay, so they can find our products. First of all, they can follow us on Instagram at NouriTress Pro for professionals, NouriTress Pro on Instagram, and on our website is NouriTress.com.
NouriTress.com. We'll post that in the comment section of where we're broadcasting tonight for you.
I just sent somebody to your clinic.
You did?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. One of my clients knew somebody in the Atlanta area, and she said, I need to know where to send her. So I referred them.
Yeah.
Very cool.
But as far as trying to find someone near you, we are steady updating our website. Like Melanie, I don't know if they've added the last class on yet to the website.
Yeah, it's only been a couple weeks.
Yeah, but feel free to call us at visit NouriTress.com and just simply call us, and we can point you in the right direction.
Okay, perfect.
Excellent.
You got anything else, Melanie, you want to wrap up with?
This was just a question that I had for DeShawn, but it would be good for everyone to hear, because if it's recommended to use your follicle stimulator, like I got the oxygen stimulating machine, which also uses that product, which is this blue stuff that we're talking about. So it helps to stimulate the scalp. And
we played with that yesterday.
Yeah, it has the camphor in there. But so they're taking this home, and what's the difference of using it with the oxygen? Because someone was like, well, if I'm going to use it at home, why do I need the oxygen machine with the same thing?
And Melanie, you can tell you do this for a living, so great question. Because one of the things that we want to do, again, people give up if they can't see the results faster. So one of the things that we want to do when you come in, and Ken, you ask the question, what do we do if a person comes in? We want to infuse the treatment into the scalp first. It allows us to use oxygen to penetrate the treatment into the scalp, which is 5 times faster, of getting it in the scalp than you would if you just put it on at home, and it has to, just absorb into the scalp naturally. So getting the oxygen treatment at least once a month, or every 2 to 3 weeks will just help speed up the process of hair growth, because it is actually being infused into the scalp.
Very good.
Okay, good. Well, thank you very much for coming on. If I get more more questions, would you be willing to come on and again in the future?
Of course. I just enjoyed this. I'm glad my husband got off early.
Oh, me too.
So are we. Because we were going to run a 2-part show. We said we were going to be done in half an hour. It's been
that's tough.
Hour and 20 minutes.
Has it been already?
See, it goes by so fast.
It goes by every time we do an interview.
Exactly. We're
right.
So
I mean,
glad.
to get experts on and to be able to have these discussions. Yeah, we always
want. And this was so different. It was exciting, and it affects so many people, even especially in the curly world. Like I had said to DeShawn, we were only halfway through the class and went to lunch, and I went running up to her and I was like, you have to come on our show. People need to hear this.
Yeah.
Well, I do want to, as we close, I do want to say this, that, according to the American Academy of Dermatology, and I always tell people, my mom used to always say, don't listen to me, go Google it. Google has all the information. But about 70 million people experience hair thinning and hair loss. 70 million, wow. About 40 million men and 30 million women. So those are large numbers.
How many are helpable, if you had to guess, of that percentage? Is it 75%? Yeah.
I would always make it, I would say half and half, because some people have let it go too long.
It's still
some people,
great.
Are older, medication. But even just because you're taking medication doesn't mean that your hair can't grow back. I mean, if I have sugar diabetes, or if I have thyroid, am I not going to do what I need to do to grow my hair back if I can? Yeah, I think it's all about education. And, I just want people to know that you're not alone. There are a lot of people suffering in silence, alone, and are quiet because they just don't want anybody to know. They're wearing hair pieces and all of that. Those are all good. The good thing is that we live in a technology now where we can wear, like you saw on YouTube, Melanie, the hair piece where it looks like it's coming out of your scalp. That's fine. But if we can get your hair to grow back, that's the number one way to do it, because it's directly linked to your confidence.
Yeah. That's right. There's hair hope.
There's hair hope.
There's hair hope. Yeah.
Well, again, thanks again for coming on. We really appreciate it. Thank you very much
Thank
for
you
coming
so
on.
much.
And I'll keep you posted. You guys here who are listening and watching, keep your ears open. We'll have her on again in the future. So get your questions ready. So thanks again. We really appreciate it. And we'll be talking to you soon.
Bye, DeShawn.
Okay. All right. Bye. There. Well, wonderful. Well, that was a lot of fun.
I know. See what I mean? It's like, oh my gosh, it's so interesting. It's really great information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really is great information. I hope you guys got a lot out of that interview. And like you heard me talk about, we'll get her on again in the future here as you guys have more and more questions. So yeah, check out. We'll post a link in the comment sections. For NouriTress.com. You can check them out. You can check out RawHairOrganics.com. Oh no, RawHairOrganicSalon.com.
That's right.
That's right. I forgot. You can check that out too. And you can talk to Melanie or one of her people about that too. So
I've got my equipment and my lab coat ready.
And her lab coat and the room set up and everything. So
yep.
Yeah, pretty neat, pretty interesting. So, all right. Well, hope you guys enjoyed that. We'll see you again next week. Take care. Have a great curl week.